What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about some new Digimon cards, and this is a little bit weird. We've actually just gone a couple of days in a row without looking at new Digimon cards. No, one day. But still, we've gone like one, in fact, actually in the past 3 days, we've had like one video looking at new cards. It's been weird. We've had news and other things to talk about. But let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming at this time of the year, of course, or this time of the cycle, which is taking a little bit of a look at some lovely new Digimon cards. We're talking purple today, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got one very, very big card to talk about and one very, very little card to have a little bit of a talk about. And we might as well start off with the little Digimon. We've got Digimon, a lovely new purple level 2, a Digitama, a Digi-egg, a baby Digimon, call it what you will. Now, our translations here come from the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming, we're a fan, and the lovely folks over at DigimonCards.dev, we're a fan. Two best sites for researching the Digimon TCG, come at me, bro. And apparently what we've got is an inheritable skill that reads, on your turn, once during your turn, when another of your Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains 2,000 power for the turn. So it's another one of these, like we tend to see with Digitama generally, that is, well, it's hyper-specific. This is not going to fit into any old purple deck. This is not one of those, and there are a few, like Uppermon is probably the best example I would give, which is a Digimon that is actually just going to go into any deck of that color. I think you could look at Uppermon. It just, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, you draw a card, and I know that they're not always going to have that, but there are some decks where you're aiming to get rid of their evolution sources, and some, even when you're not, there's going to be plenty of turns where your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards, and it's going to be draw power. And I think if you're making a blue deck, this is your default Digitama, and then we stop to take a little bit of a look as to whether there might be more. But here, this is like proper job hyper-specific. So what have we got? Well, we got a Digitama that is going to be really good in any deck that aims to delete your own Digimon. And to be fair, when you're rocking purple decks, this is a kind of thing you're probably fairly accustomed to doing. Chimeramon, when you play it, you may delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Wegururamon, when you're attacking, once during your turn, you may delete one of your other Digimon to make the Digimon that Digivolved from it active. Not to mention all those deletion skills like Impmon that trashes 3 cards on the top of your deck, or Tapermon that draws a card, that are basically giving you incentives for deleting your own Digimon, and purple are going to be absolutely fine here. Now, not every purple deck wants to do this. Not every purple deck is playing these great deletion skills. Not every purple deck is going to be playing the cards that delete your own Digimon. So if you're not doing that, probably don't play this card. And if you are doing this, probably play this card. Because an extra 2,000 power is huge. It's what we don't usually see. In fact, if I take a look at all of the purple Digitama, there are not any other purple Digitama that give you an extra 2,000 power. The best we've got is the Yarmon from BT2, that if you've got 5 or more cards in your trash, gives you an extra 1,000 power. Now, don't get me wrong, you get 5 cards in your trash, and then for the rest of the game, this will give you the extra 1,000 power. But if you're playing the right kind of purple deck, then you're going to be getting this as often as you really need to, and that means you're just getting an extra 2,000 power. Honestly, the biggest counter-argument here is there are a bunch of other really good ones you might want instead. Pagamon that trashes the top 2 cards of your deck when deleted, and obviously, like I've said in many videos before, there are a whole bunch of Digimon in the purple range that really do want to play from the trash, that will let you play Digimon for free from the trash, like either Piedmon or Metal Garurumon from Booster 1.0. They are just examples. There are plenty more. So my point is that you might want to be able to trash the top card of your deck. So you know what? Maybe you want this. Or the Pagamon that when you attack, trashes the top card of your deck. So you got two different options there depending on how you're building your deck and how you're playing to trash cards from your deck. Or you might want Demi-Meramon that draws a card when deleted and then trashes a card. But it doesn't really give you extra cards, but it cycles them and that's quite nice. Or the Xiaomon. Then if you've got 10 or more cards in your trash, you gain retaliation. So when you're deleted, you take down the Digimon you're fighting with you. And my point here is that actually there are some really, really good Digitama that we can have a little bit of a play with in purple. And I don't have a great answer for you as to whether this is better than them, because like with so many things, it depends. There are going to be some times where this is absolutely beautiful and wonderful and amazing, and there are going to be some other times where you're not going to even care about this even a little bit. So it's another one to add to the pool, so to speak. It's a really nice card. It's one that is going to help you out in a whole bunch of decks, and if you're looking for a bit of extra power in purple, it's probably your best option. But like so many of these Digitama that we've seen since the inception of the game, like the vast majority of them, honestly, it is very specific, and there are going to be some decks where it works beautifully, and other decks where we're not going to use it at all. I'm still giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric, because I do think it is going to see a whole bunch of play. But now that we've looked at the little Digimon, we need to take a little bit of a pivot here and look at the big Digimon. We've got a level 6 purple we need to be having a little bit of a gander out. It is Zambamon. And Zambamon, straight off the bat, is cheap. 10 cost to play normally, cheap. 2 cost to Digivolve, cheap. 10,000 power, weak. You see, as well as being cheap, and there's no argument against it, right? 10 cost to play normally is about as cheap as we get for level 6s. 2 cost to Digivolve is about as cheap as we get for level 6s. But 10,000 power is low. Unless you're looking at super weird exceptions like Slash Angemon, 10,000 power is basically as low as we're going here. So there needs to be some kind of skill to make it worth it. And the good news is there is. It's got retaliation. Simple as that. It has got retaliation that says when this Digimon is deleted after losing a battle, delete the Digimon it was battling. And this is a weird one for me, because obviously straight off the bat, I want to put this side by side with Boltmon. I want to look at Boltmon, which is the same cost as this, but 2,000 extra power, and I want to go, would you rather have the extra 2,000 power, or would you rather have Boltmon? And the answer is, I don't really know. So let's say your opponent's got a resting Omnimon, 15,000 power. If I attack with Boltmon, I go down, they survive. If I attack with Zambamon, I go down, they survive, but then retaliation kicks in and they do in fact go down. And that's kind of wonderful. But if I'm attacking the stack and I hit an 11,000 power Digimon, bearing in mind the average Digimon has, or level 6, has 11,000 power, then Zambamon goes down but Boltmon survives. So essentially, if I'm attacking the security stack, I would rather have Boltmon. If I'm attacking one of my opponent's Digimon or being attacked by one of my opponent's Digimon, I would rather have Zambamon. But we do need to bear in mind that as much as I'm saying, well, Boltmon's got the extra power, Boltmon can have retaliation. Because Devamon was one of the awesome purple cards we saw in Booster 1.0. It's already seen play in a bunch of decks around here. In the Booster 1.0 format outside of Japan. It was in BT2 in Japan. It's seen play there as well. Devamon has retaliation normally and as an inheritable skill, which means that if you want to have a Boltmon with retaliation, then just make sure it evolves from Devamon, and at that point, you've got the extra 2,000 power and the same skill, and Zambamon becomes irrelevant. We do also have the promo Myotismon. Now, this does come in those tournament packs volume 1. The ones I told you about in the video yesterday, which, to put it bluntly, are going to be a problem. Essentially, every store is getting 32 of these, and there are 8 different cards. With a playset, that means 32 cards, but each store is only getting 32 packs with 1 card per pack. Yeah. And compare that, of course, to Japan, where the promo pack had all 8 of them and could be bought on the front of a magazine. That is, shall we say, very, very different indeed. But my point is that Myotismon here also has Retaliation as an inheritable skill. So if you really want to have Boltmon with Retaliation, you absolutely can. And the thing is, I like Zambamon. If you're playing those decks where you basically just hardcast giant Digimon, this is going to work. Or if you really want Retaliation, but you want to play other level 4s or 5s, or you don't want to have to stress about how you're Digivolving it up, this will really work. But there is a really strong counter-argument here, where I could just look at this and go, well, hang on a second. If I want a cheap level 6 with Retaliation, and I'm willing to Digivolve, I can have it with 2,000 extra power, and for that reason I'm giving Zambamon 3 Wassies. I do not think it is a bad card, not by any stretch of the imagination. But what I do think is that it is a card where you can very easily look at this and go, you know what? I have other things I'd rather play instead. And there is going to be a choice to be made. And the choice isn't necessarily going to be, screw this, I'm playing something else. But I do think it is far from a slam dunk. So this is where we come down. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassie Plays.